the CHGO White Sox postgame show, coming to you live from Studio A of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me at Sean_W_Anderson. You can follow the show at CHGO_White Sox. We will be joined later by our CHGO White Sox beat writer, Vinnie Duber from Guaranteed Rate Field. We're being produced today by Sarah.
Hello.
Hello, and make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button if you are hanging out with us. Make sure you're letting us know your thoughts on your Chicago White Sox in the comments below, whether you just want to share the Vote Maldonado love or you want to talk about what Pedro Grfiol did to the White Sox today after this 6-4 loss. Herb, I thought it was really turning around for the White Sox. They lost 14 straight, and then we saw a little bit of brightness, a little bit of light. 2 straight wins on Friday and Saturday. We'll talk about that.
Yep.
But we got to start with today's game because, Wolf, PDG, your guy. He's your guy.
I mean, it's not, you know how people after the fact say, oh, yeah, that was the spot where the White Sox lost. At the time, in the 7th inning, let me set up the scenario. The White Sox at the time are leading by the score. No, it's tied 3-all at this time. Leadoff hitter is Corey Julks. Hits a double into the gap. He's gone 2 for 4. He's your best hitter in the lineup right now.
Had 3 balls at 95 plus, 98 plus. He had 2 over 100, and 1 was 98.
He's the leadoff hitter. Remember, it's the 7th inning in a tie ball game. PDG, Pedro Grfiol, substitutes him out, who is a 77 percentile in sprint speed in the major leagues. So he's fast. For another guy in Duke Ellis, who is a rookie that is good and really fast. He's awesome.
You could slow down with the good.
I mean, he's good at running. He's fast. But all he does, he's taking him out. I was like, that's a mistake. And then he doubles his mistake by bunting with Nicky Lopez just to move the guy to third. If he's that damn fast, have him steal. Or do something that has that benefit of you taking out your leadoff guy and make it make sense, please. Because even if you think that Duke Ellis is 99th percentile to 77 for Corey Julks, remember, it's the 7th inning at a tie ball game at the time. More than likely, if you go to the 9th inning, you're going to get another at-bat in that spot, at the top spot. And Duke Ellis is not a guy with the hit tool at all. He gets on base by walking sometimes and with infield singles. So more than likely, he's not going to be your guy that's going to be coming up in the 8th or 9th inning that's going to come through with a hit. So,
but more than likely, that came up because it was 10 innings.
It did. And the weird thing about it, it came up in the 8th inning where, again, Pedro Grfiol allowed Martin Maldonado to hit for himself with 1 out with a runner on second.
Jump to the 6th real quick because Sheets struck out swinging. Vaughn singled to center. DeYoung hit a ground rule double, not allowing Devon to score from first. I don't know if he would have, but it was a weird kind of bounce by the center fielder, so maybe.
Yeah.
But then Colas struck out looking. There's 2 outs. Sosa was intentionally walked because Martin Maldonado is behind him. A great situation for Corey Lee to possibly pinch hit for Maldonado, who has started in back-to-back games, but he flies out to center, ending that threat in a 3-3 ball game. So then in the 8th, after Colas strikes out swinging, Sosa doubles to left. He stole third on his own volition, timed the pitcher up perfectly.
Awesome.
And then what happened with Martin Maldonado and who up?
It was him. It was
Duke
Martin
Ellis.
Maldonado. Yeah, and he pops it up, and then Duke Ellis didn't swing the bat. He did half-hearted bunt attempts and just was watching the game. He had a great time watching the game, just like all of us. But it's not Duke Ellis' fault because he's not a hitter. He just was brought up here to be the speed guy, but that would have been Corey Julks' spot right there. And maybe you're thinking about a different scenario there where Martin Maldonado feels a little bit more protection if he has Corey Julks behind him, even though Martin Maldonado sucks. Absolutely is atrocious at hitting. That should have been another pitch hit opportunity for Corey Lee to come in the game. We'll ask our Vinnie Duber after the game, is Corey Lee just hurt and couldn't be in there in the 6th or 8th inning? Otherwise, it's just a dumb thing by Pedro Grfiol. So then you have the at-bat by Duke Ellis where he doesn't swing the bat, innings over. And it comes back to bite you because then when you have the lead, when the run that Duke Ellis scored in the 7th doesn't stand up because in the 9th inning you have to go to Tanner Banks. I understand because you used Michael Kopech the day before and he was gassed because he threw like 35 pitches the day before in a non-save situation, which also is questionable. So he gives up the run to Reese McGuire, former White Sox great, to tie that game up. I also think Corey Jokes has a better and stronger arm than Duke Ellis. It wasn't that far of a hit ball, but Corey Jokes last year, I think his arm rated at 65 percentile in Major League Baseball, so you probably have a better shot of getting the guy at third, but probably not. But at least, why are you taking one of your best players overall out of the game in the 7th inning for a player that can't hit and his only tool is this run, and you didn't even use that tool of running for him? It was just so outstandingly dumb by Pedro Grfiol today, and that's not the main reason they lost, but it is probably one of an ingredient of reasons they lost. And you can't have your manager actively costing you games when you're a bad team already.
Yeah, I mean,
like, it doesn't really matter if they win or lose, but this is the process of trying to find out if you can be a winner. Like, winning these games are the reasons why you move on with Pedro. It's like, oh yeah, I saw what he did in that game. He did a good job at that run game, even though this wasn't turned into a run game because the Red Sox scored 2 in the 10th. But man, Pedro really handled that situation in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning really well. We can probably move on with him because his tactician him as a tactician is good. But no, you saw no tactician today. You saw a dumb play and no foresight by him. He keeps on doing these things where he's telling you, I can't manage a Major League Baseball game in game at all.
You're telling me he was tactless?
Yes.
He was without tact?
Oh, my God. It's just so bad. Like, just so horribly bad at his job where he doesn't know. Well, and every one of you guys is out there. It's not me. And I know somebody said, oh, you should get an apology from Vinnie. I don't need an apology from Vinnie.
It was a joke.
It was.
And even though it's a joke, I'm still going to ask Vinnie today to give you a written apology.
Please don't.
He has, no, absolutely. He's going to Arkansas. He has time, maybe in the car ride there or back, to give you a, maybe a 4-paragraph written apology for laughing when you said you can manage better.
Yeah, and Corona says Boston literally was handing you the game today with 3 errors. In the same inning, I believe it was.
Yeah, all in the same inning.
Just allowing back to back.
Vaughn and Sheets to run around the base.
Yeah, every one of you guys could have managed that game much better than Pedro Grfiol.
Well, let's ask Bob Nightingale. Bob Nightingale, what do you have to say about Pedro Grfiol's job security? And around the base path with USA Today. Today, Bob Nightingale wrote, the White Sox have no immediate plans to dismiss manager Pedro Grfiol, refusing to solely blame him for being baseball's worst team. The White Sox believe it would make no sense to bring in and pay another manager when the team's fate isn't going to change no matter who is in the dugout. Grfiol is in the second year of a 3-year contract for about $3 million. The White Sox are expected to reassess this winter to determine whether a managerial change is needed. Basically saying, we don't want Joe Cowley to be right. He's probably gone in the winter, which is no surprise to us. That's basically what we've been saying. Yeah. And so your blood pressure doesn't get raised any more than it needs to. I think we should take a break from Pedro talk and we'll pick it up with Vinnie.
Yeah.
Do you have more? I mean, if you want to rant, I mean, people are loving it. Victor's saying preach.
I just think, like, that's a dumb reason not to fire somebody. Just to, it won't make a difference. Those are the dumb. That's why you're a dumb, bad organization. Because you think about only positivity coming out of a removal. You should be removing somebody that you immediately see that there's no future with him. Like, what's the holdup? The holdup should be only, hey, man, I think he can get through this tough period. He's going through a tough period because our team sucks, not because he sucks. Everybody can see, yeah, the team sucks, but he's, at best, not helping the team out. Yeah. At worst, he's actively harming the team. So what's the holdup? And you don't have to pay extra. You just elevate Charlie Montoya up from bench coach to manager.
You're just paying him not to manage.
Yeah, and that's fine. You're going to pay him either way you put it. But once you realize that you have a mistake, there's no reason to continue to make the mistake. And we all know, and I know people don't think it's true. You say it all the time. It is because of what Joe Cowley reported that they're not firing him. If Joe Cowley didn't report that, he would probably already been fired. And they, as you said, they don't want to give him the satisfaction because you might have a beef with Joe Cowley, how he reports, how he talks on Twitter. But when it comes to White Sox stuff, Joe Cowley is 100% right all the time. And so I guarantee Jerry Reinsdorf is just fuming that he keeps on becoming right. And he's no way he's going to give him the satisfaction of, hey, man, Joe said he should be fired, and he's here.
We'll see. Minnie Dar saying, keep Pedro away from the prospects. Don't you worry. Drew Thorpe is going to be up here on Tuesday. We got more to talk to. I want to talk about Corey Julks. We'll talk a little bit about Chris Flexen. Not too much, but Flexen was all right. Sarah, if you want to flash up the screen. Flexen was perfect through, I think, 3. He ends up going 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 2 hits, 3 Ks, 2 walks. He hasn't been spectacular or anything, but maybe he's interesting to somebody just because he can go for like 2 to 3 innings. Yeah. He might be interesting enough for somebody, but Flexen, maybe they get something, but it's definitely going to be a flyer, if anything. Flexen's little run there since being moved into the bullpen, not great, sitting with a 5.06 ERA, but still he was all right enough to win the game today. It wasn't his fault that the White Sox didn't win. Paul DeJong not only had that ground rule double we brought up in the 6th inning for his 11th double of the year, but he also had his 12th home run, giving the Sox, I think, a 3-1 lead at that point. He's now hitting .238, .287, and slugging .482 on the year. He's your leader in home runs with 12 home runs, and I think he's your leader by far in slugging percentage. Robert's at .479, but I don't think he qualifies yet. So first I'll ask you, Paul DeJong a thing? I mean, could they get something for him at this point?
They're going to get something. I don't know if they're going to get anything that is actually MLB ready or MLB useful. So, they got a good reliever for Robbie Grossman, and I would say that Paul DeJong is a better player at this point than what Robbie Grossman. And Paul DeJong will be helpful to a team that does need a shortstop or a good right-handed bat off the bench. So you should get something, but I don't expect anything that is going to be on the Major League roster. And if it is, I don't think it's going to be anything that is going to be actually contributing to a future White Sox division-winning team.
Yeah, I mean, he's interesting. I mean, it's a decent amount of pop for a guy who's a middle infielder. When you look at, what's it called? Weighted runs created plus, he's 17th of 29 Major League shortstops, but it's 108. I mean, it's a position that usually you don't get a ton of pop for him. He's got the same weighted runs created plus as O'Neal Cruz, C.J. Abrams, and Francisco Lindor. So, I mean, those guys are playoff shortstops. I don't know if DeJong would be the worst option, so maybe they get something.
Somebody gets hurt. I'm sure he'll be a good replacement for somebody in a lineup, but shortstops usually are pretty solid injury-wise, so he'll probably be a guy off the bench instead of a guy starting. I couldn't imagine a contender with a shortstop hole.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, we even saw the Blue Jays and Giants give him a try last year, so we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of teams that are contending right now. The White Sox aren't one of them. It's at 17 and 49, but maybe DeJong could get something. 4 homers in his last 7 games with the homer today. Corey Julks has been a thing. He's led off for the White Sox today, went 2 for 4 before getting replaced by Duke Ellis. He's now hitting .288, .365, and slugging .470 on the year. You brought up a question. Corey Julks, where does he play once Pham and Benintendi come back? I guess the biggest question is how serious is Benintendi's injury? I don't think Pham's is super serious. I could see an outfield of Pham in right, Robert in center, Julks in left, and then you got Gavin DHing and Vaughn at first. I mean, it seems fine right now. I mean, I don't know how long Benny's going to be out. My thing with Benny, I mean, Achilles, that never sounds good. Again, that's a huge issue. So I think that might be a reason to stop.
I thought they were both going out to Arizona, Pham and Benny, to get some extra work in and rehab down there. And then the White Sox next weekend will be in Arizona to play the D-backs. So I expect Pham to rejoin the team at that time. I don't know if Benny's going to be at that time. As you say, like an Achilles injury like that might be a little bit tougher and longer than just a sprained ankle that Pham has.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it would be a shame. I mean, it seems like Colas would likely be the guy to get sent down, but I think it'd be a shame to not see more of Julks. There's been a lot of talk about the 26-man churn, the 40-man churn. Try out a ton of guys. I mean, whether it's Jared Walsh or who's the guy that they just picked up, Michael Chavis. If any of these guys become interesting enough, like Robbie Grossman, maybe you get a reliever that will contribute. I don't think our guy Bubba has contributed just yet, but still, I mean, I would really hate to see Benintendi take away playing time from Corey Julks. Maybe they work him in with, if there's a lefty on the mound, maybe you put him in and Sheets gets the day off at DH. But I'd like to see more Corey Julks.
Me too. Like, the guy has just come up here and done a great job. Now, today, he did a dumb play where a single was hit to him to his left, to his right, where Duran is going down the bases from first base to third. He's going to make it. Duran's got superior speed. What you need to do is throw the ball into second or the cutoff man in second to stop Refschneider from going from first to second, which he didn't. And that's just a dumb White Sox outfield thing that they've been doing all year long. And I want him to clean that up. Baseball IQ's got to be better than that. I can't be the smartest person associated with the White Sox. I can't be smarter than you, Corey Julks. I cannot. You got to throw that ball into second base. Like 100%. Like, I don't know. This is fundamental stuff. I love the hitting, and I'm sad that you got removed in the 7th inning. But if you want to stay on the field, you got to do the right things defensively. Now, if Pedro says that, I still would be questioning him because you let him bat after that. But it would at least make a little bit more sense that you benched him for a dumbass play, but you wouldn't bench Benintendi for a dumbass play. He's made them all damn year.
Pretty decent segment you have, though. Are you smarter than Corey Julks? I think I remember Jeff Foxworthy hosted that, right?
He was great at it.
It was a great show. All right, we want to take a break. We'll let you know about our friends over at Shady Rays, and then we'll talk about the Friday and Saturday's wins, where we got some homers from DeYoung, Vaughn, and Sheets. But we want to let you know about Shady Rays. Get ready for the season ahead with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that will not break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames and crystal-clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. They have hundreds of options to choose from, so you're bound to find the particular pair to match your style. Boom. They probably have a style in your favorite team's colors. We wear Shady Rays while we're walking, while we're driving, while...
I left mine literally in the car.
You left yours in the car?
Literally in the car.
Maybe while we're watering plants. What do you do in your Shady Rays?
Bike.
Walk your dog?
Yes.
There you
and
go.
Bike, too.
Oh, you bike?
Yeah.
You like biking? You got your own bike?
I do.
You got a stationary bike, or you biking through the streets?
Oh, I'm not through the streets on the lakefront path.
Okay.
The lakefront is, the city is great. And it's got a great lakefront path.
We got 6 speeds, 12 speeds?
It's a 7-speed. It's a Trek 3.
Oh, look at you.
X3.
I have no idea. I don't know anything about bikes. But our favorite part about Shady Rays, if you don't love your shades, you can exchange them for a new pair or return worry-free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back with personal and fast support. And if your shades ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, don't sweat it. They have the most insane protection program in all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by lost or broken replacements. Head to our exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com or use code CHGO for 35% off polarized shades. Again, try for yourself. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people over at shadyrays.com using the code CHGO. We want to let you know about our friends over at Illinois Pork Producers. It's grilling season, so go get your pork. Maybe chop it up this dinner with the pork. Maybe you start the oven now and you start roasting some pork. Maybe you're thinking about pork for your breakfast. Wake up with some links.
Some bacon.
Some sausage links, some bacon. You hit up our guy Charlie and get some of that flavor-packed bacon. Maybe get some Malort bacon.
Maui Wowie.
Maui Wowie, the jalapeno garlic. But people who are active need more protein than an average American. In fact, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, Dietitian of Canada, and the American of College Sports Medicine recommend 1.2 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day for athletes, depending on training. So with Herb hitting up the lakefront trail on his bike, Herb's got to take in more protein than the average American. He's so active, folks. So elevate your protein game with lean pork, a powerhouse of natural goodness. Savor the flavor, savor the and celebrate any occasion by enjoying the best pork produced by Illinois pig farmers. From your sausage and breakfast for breakfast to pulled pork or juicy chops hot off the grill, it's an entire season dedicated to pork and the people behind the product. Paid for by Illinois pork producers. Generations of commitment. Since I said Andrew Vaughn needs to be DFA'd after this year, Herb, he has 9 hits and 25 at-bats with a double and 2 home runs, hitting about 368, 393, and slugging 636 since I said, this guy sucks.
I mean, about time.
True.
About time you did something. Still only hitting like 215
on
the year, and with a 630 OPS.
217, 276, 350.
Yeah, that's trash. So your point is still valid until he continues doing what he's doing right now and putting a couple more balls over the fence. So I think he only has 6 home runs this year as a first baseman. That's terrible this deep into the season. Then, yeah, your point stands.
I mean, I was more trying to give him credit. I was just more trying to say, hey, look at this dumb idiot. Now he's doing well. You're saying no, he still sucks?
I mean, I need a little bit more. That's what, a week's worth of work?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
but
I need a month's worth of work.
Since May, 241, 296, 257 or 457. No, with 6 homers.
No,
all 6 homers in those 31 games.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
You have to be better. You're a corner infielder that was picked 4th in the draft. You should be at minimum at 330 on base. Minimum. That's not asking for a lot.
No, I agree. I mean, well, and 2, over the stretch that I'm saying, I think he only has 1 walk and 5 strikeouts. So it's just more of the balls that he is putting in play are finally landing for him, which, hey, isn't a bad thing, but still, nothing too excited. Are you excited at all about Gavin Sheets? I mean, we saw him obviously get out to a start in hot April and March. Cooled off a little bit in May, but we've seen some pop back from Gavin. He now has 3 homers in June already, and he also had a nice double earlier in the game.
The guy just has worked on himself and become a better hitter. Is he a top of the league hitter? No. Is he a hitter that you maybe can get something for this trade deadline? Probably. The guy's got some good bats, and they're finally allowing him to bat versus left-handers. Like, you're not going to be better versus left-handers until you hit versus left-handers. Hit his first home run off the left-hander this year. I think they can have a good job of developing what they have in Gavin Sheets and maybe moving him off. Maybe he can be a future like a Ryan O'Hearn, who turned into from a nothing player pretty much at Kansas City to an all right, decent player out in Baltimore.
Yeah, hey, I mean, maybe he goes to San Francisco and, just starts popping balls into McCovey Cove. You never know. They like a lot of platoon guys, so, you got him as a righty platoon guy.
Oh, yeah. I think that Gavin Sheets will have a nice, solid MLB career
when
he leaves the White Sox.
4 more years in him?
I think he's a lefty power hitter.
He's going to play till he's 36?
I think he's going to play, until his mid-30s.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I could
28.
see that. I could definitely see that.
We'll see. All right, I do want to get to Garrett Crochet. The White Sox obviously did break the losing streak that they did have. They broke it on Friday. Garrett Crochet took the bump, and he was fantastic in his start. Again, he had 10 Ks, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 91 pitches in this game. His ERA is now down to 3.33, and here's the most exciting thing. Sarah, if you want to flash up the pitch velocity, you could see that there's a dip there around his 30th four-seam fastball, but then there's a steady rise, and I think that's extremely exciting. He throws nearly 60 four-seam fastballs, and the average velocity has stayed true to his season velocity. So the velocity has been there consistently for Garrett Crochet. This is extremely exciting to see. Again, we weren't really even sure last year what his value was going to be to the White Sox. We weren't sure at the start of spring training if he could even be a starter, and here he is, 75 innings, 14 game starts into his first full year as a starter, a 3.33 ERA, a 93 whip, or 0.93 whip, with a ton of strikeouts, 103 strikeouts. I'm not exactly sure where that leads Major League Baseball, or at least the American League, but it's up there,
American
folks.
League. I'm pretty sure it leads the American League.
He's been extremely impressive. He's been extremely fun to watch. And again, the biggest question is health. How healthy can he stay? Can he actually be a starting pitcher? And every single time he just goes out there and shoves Herb.
Yeah, I have to admit, every time I get on this microphone and every time he goes out and starts a game, it's like, I was wrong. The White Sox and Garrett Crochet were 100% right. I did not think that we would be, what, you said 75 innings into this season where Garrett Crochet is out here just looking dominant. And there's room to grow. Like, his fastball value is up there, as you've been showing. He really doesn't have like a dominant breaking ball yet. Like, he can get something better and he can adjust to what that league is showing him, and he does during the game. I think he talks to Eric Fetty about, how to pitch and how to sequence a pitcher. Like 10 strikeouts versus the Boston Red Sox is nothing to sniff at. Those guys like to put bat on ball, and he was just like, okay, y'all's up there. It doesn't really matter. Uniform doesn't matter. You guys are going to go down like everybody else is. I guarantee that same thing. When he goes to Seattle, that's the start I'm looking forward to. Like, Fetty tomorrow, we're going to get to the Thorpe start on Tuesday. Then you get Garrett Crochet on Wednesday. In that ballpark, which doesn't give up a lot of home runs, not a lot of triples, and has a bunch of strikeouts in that actual ballpark. Man, I am looking forward to that next start when he goes against those Seattle Mariners. Remember, I said that after his first start versus the Tigers, hell's coming to breakfast, and he shut the Braves down like it was nothing. Mm-hmm. He's pretty much done that for every start, sans like 3 starts. And I don't know if I want to trade him, even if he's only got 2 years after this. When you got something that valuable, you keep it. And you work a way to keep that long term. And as you brought up multiple times, you should extend him. You should be finding ways to extend him, entice him to stay. And if you don't want to do that, then get out the fucking game, because you have a premium arm that everybody's been looking forward to. And you're going to try to trade it? I understand that he won't be good, or you won't be good at the end of his contract, so make his contract longer. When you have something that good, that has stayed healthy, as at the top of the American League in strikeouts, why would you trade that unless you're getting way more than you expect?
Well, and you mentioned the breaking ball, too. Ever since he stopped throwing back foot sliders to righties and has made that a point, he hasn't given up a slider homer since the 29th of April. He has a 0 pitch run value since that day, which is fine because before that it was negative.
Yes.
Right now, it currently sits at -6, so it's been 0 for the past pretty much month. And over that month, 8 pitcher run value on his 4-seam fastball, 7 pitcher run value on his cutter. I really don't think that it could get more dominant than a 40% whiff rate, even though it's a 0% pitch run value, mainly because you have to sit something.
Yeah.
And I think he can't sit 97 coming from 6'7" with the extension. I mean, he is just truly built to be dominant. He is built to be a horse in this league. And I've said Randy Johnson before, and the guy keeps going out there, and he looks like effing Randy Johnson.
He's ridiculous.
It's so damn fun. He is second in Major League Baseball in strikeouts, just behind Tyler Glasnow, your guy, Killian Murphy. And he's at 103 strikeouts and 75 innings pitched. Tyler Glasnow, 80 innings pitched, 104 strikeouts. So, I mean, there's 5 less innings pitched, and he's pretty much leading the major leagues. So, I mean, it's been incredible stuff, laughable stuff. It's so fun to watch him pitch and to see him go out and work. Are we at a break, Sarah? We are at a break. Hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We'll hit a break after Herb finishes.
Like the team just lost 14 in a row, and he didn't give a goddamn. Nope. And we knew that day, like, as long as he's in the game, game's over for the Boston Red Sox. When he leaves, then you got a chance. But if he's in the game, runs are going to be very slim for the Boston Red Sox. The same thing when he pitched the time before, and they blew it after that. He threw 6 innings, and, like, after he left, like, oh, man, finally, that guy's out of the game. Let's hit.
Yeah, and hey, the White Sox, too, gave him the run support. Robert hit a homer to lead off that game, or not lead off, but to in the first inning of that game, in the first to frame, and then you also got runs of the 4th, but then the 6th inning, you got homers from Sheets and Vaughn. So they showed up for their pitcher, and thankfully they did, being able to break that losing streak. We want to let you know about our friends over at Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members. It's the most fun and exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. If you're looking for promotions, Prize Picks has you covered every week, from lower selecting player stats projections on Tuesdays, which increases your chance for getting a win, to getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Friday. Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. So get in on the daily action with your friends and become a part of the Prize Picks community today. The best part, too, you can get your entries in under 60 seconds. So if you are trying to just watch a game, maybe just make some easy breezy picks. I like the guy to not strike out. I like the guy to get a hit, maybe driving a run. Maybe you're a Paul DeJong fan, more on Paul DeJong, less on the White Sox strikeouts or the opposing pitcher strikeouts. Boom, you got an entry. So go download the app today and use code CHGO for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code CHGO for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, theater events near you. And with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. I've gone to Atlanta, I've gone to Milwaukee, I've gone to Wrigley Field. I've used Game Time each and every time. And each and every time I go and look in the secondary markets after I buy the tickets on Game Time. Only once have I found a lower price in the row and section that I'm sitting in. When I did this was in Atlanta, I sent this information to Game Time. They sent me the difference, 110% of the difference, into my account within 12 minutes. Now, 12 minutes might be the speedy time, but they'll get you that money back in your account immediately. See the views from your seat when you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. And all-in prices show your total up front, so you know what you're getting when you get there, and you get no hidden fees. That's what I like about Game Time. Just tell me the price, and I'll pay it, or I'll decide not to pay it. But Game Time always has low price, so you're definitely going to pay it. And they're obsessed with finding you ways to help you save money on tickets. Game Time has deals right up to the event, start of the event, and even an hour after that event starts. It's the place to go to find last-minute seats. And with zone deals, you pick the section like I did in Milwaukee. Game Time picks the seats for an average savings of 18%. And the Game Time guarantee, as I just told you, means that you'll always get the best price. You find the tickets in the same section or row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. I told the people the other day, I think it was Cysex fan Mike, asking about, I want to go to the game, but I want to give Jerry Reinsdorf money. I said, go to Game Time. Boom. Use the CHGO code for your first time.
Spell it out.
CHGO. Yeah, of course. And you get $20 off. You don't pay Jerry Reinsdorf any money. And when you want to go in, bring your own water. Bring your own food. So you have a great time at the ballpark, and you don't feel guilty for getting Jerry Reinsdorf money. Again, the terms apply. Create an account. Redeem the code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets. Lowest price guaranteed.
Or you can give us your money by going to the takeover, and you can buy tickets through us.
Boom.
And give us your money.
Exactly, Sarah. We got
June 24th.
CHGO White Sox takeover on June 24th, as Sarah elegantly put there, at 7:10 as the Dodgers are coming down to town. So if you do want to see Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Teoscar Hernandez, Teo having a big year out in Los Angeles.
Ohtani too?
Oh, that's who I missed. Tyler Glasnow, maybe.
Tyler Glasnow. I hope not. I hope not that day.
What we could confirm is the White Sox likely won't be on a 14-game losing streak at that point, right? I don't think.
Is it today? No,
I don't think they'll be able to play 14 games.
I think they can.
Oh God,
they've lost today, and what is it? The 9th right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it doesn't work out. No, there is a day off.
Yeah, let's go.
All right.
Bitch. Ha. Maybe you'll be there for game 13. But anyways, head over to allchgo.com/events to check out our takeover dates. We also have one on August 9th against the Cubs. All right, before Vinnie Duber joins us, we will talk to him about Drew Thorpe, but I do want to bring up Drew Thorpe now. Drew Thorpe will be getting the call-up for Tuesday's start in Seattle. There won't be a roster move made until then. I think it will likely just be Sammy Peralta coming off the roster as Nick Nastrini was sent down. Shane Drohan was DFA'd. I'm likely thinking he's getting sent back to Boston because I thought that's how Rule 5 picks work, but I don't know. But Sammy Peralta has been called up from Charlotte. He made an appearance in today's game, but I think Thorpe will likely take the place of Peralta on the roster. Thorpe is very interesting. He was obviously acquired in the, Dylan Cease trade. He is sort of a top prospect. He's not the White Sox best pitching prospect.
Nope.
That's Noah Schultz. I don't know if he's the best prospect in that package because Jairo Iriarte is very good. Fangraphs even listed Iriarte over Thorpe in their top 100 after the Cease trade. Keith Law didn't even rank Thorpe as a top 100 prospect in his offseason one, so this is when he was still a Padre, but still not much has happened. But he's got a 1.85 ERA in Double-A. Yeah. He's been extremely dominant, and he's got an extremely unique changeup. His changeup has 18 inches of vertical movement. The only starting pitcher that I can find that has 18 inches of vertical movement is Marco Estrada. And Marco Estrada was consistently from like 2017 to 2019 averaging 18 inches of vertical movement. But the difference is Estrada's changeup sat around 75 to 77 miles per hour. Thorpe sits at 82. So he's getting a ton more drop, and it's coming at you faster. The concern is the four-seam fastball. It sits at 91 miles per hour. We saw when he took on the Tennessee Smokies, James Triantos, top prospect for the Cubs, he sat on an 0-0 fastball and took it deep. But outside of that, it's really kind of tough from what we've been able to gather, and especially from the results in Double-A, what is a fastball and what isn't a fastball. Thorpe really does a great job of tunneling those two pitches and making sure that those have enough of a similarity and enough of a difference to where it gets a ton of swings and misses. Vertical drop is what's most important for whiffs, so hopefully Thorpe can bring this unique changeup and this dominant one pitch and make it into a full arsenal. He also throws a cutter and a sweeper, so that should be good against left-handed hitters, throwing that cutter inside, and then you also have the changeup to go away. Maybe the four-seam fastball sits at the top of the zone, and then you also have that sweeper to go outside against right-handed pitchers. I think it's all about making sure that you trust those four pitches, and we've seen that with Dylan Cease becoming more of a four-seam slider pitcher. I don't think that was super helpful to him. We saw Lucas Giolito. He was mainly fastball changeup and really never had that slider that he truly trusted on. Mm-hmm. It really got to the point where he was last with the Sox in 2023 that I'm just going to throw my slider more than any other pitch. Yep. So you don't know when my two best pitches are coming. And then we also saw that obviously with Kopech, where now he's 80% four-seam fastball and really never developed that slider. If Thorpe can bring a four-pitch mix where he can trust any of those pitches at any time and have that dominant changeup, I think he will be a pretty decent and consistent 3 to 5 starter, because it seems like this 23-year-old has a ton of confidence and has something that truly sets him apart than other 5 starters. He might not be an ace, but it seems like he's a major league pitcher.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Like, he has graduated from the Double-A level with honors. And like I was saying with Garrett Crochet, it's just probably the best venue to make your major league debut in Seattle's T-Mobile Park, because it doesn't give up a bunch of home runs, it doesn't give up a bunch of triples, and it's a place where balls go to die. So
Teoscar Hernandez has talked about the bad batter's eye and why he struggled so much in Seattle. Now he's in L.A. and hitting a ton of homers.
Yeah, and so that same thing happened to third baseman who's a Hall of Famer now, Adrian. Third baseman from Texas. I forgot his name. But
Beltre.
Yeah, Beltre. He went to Seattle.
You're kidding, right?
Huh?
You just forgot
his name. But he went to Seattle and had probably his worst part of his career.
Yep.
And that place is just not conducive to great hitting. And I think it's major league worse as far as if you're going to be a hitter going up there hitting. So, yeah, they have some tough hitters. Of course, Cal Raleigh, the big dumper, is going to be all over some balls. But like you said, I think the kid just knows how to pitch. He wasn't like the minor league pitcher of the year for the Yankees last year, dominating both in single A and double A. So the guy has been around and he knows what to do with balls. And the White Sox have a good pitching lab this year where they're dominating down there in Birmingham. They're dominating some here in the major leagues that we just talked about, Garrett Crochet and some of Eric Fetty. So I don't think they can mess him up. I think that he's going to have a great start on Tuesday. I'm looking forward to it.
Fingers crossed. We'll talk to you, Vinnie Duber, in just a second about Drew Thorpe. I do just want to get through some minor league stuff in just a second. On Saturday, George Wolkow, local product, hit his second home run. Herb, it went 114 miles per hour and 457 feet. 114 would be the hardest hit ball by a Chicago White Sox this year. So the 18-year-old in A-ball is hitting balls harder than major leaguers. Edgar Caro has been on a phenomenal run in his last 10 games, 38 at-bats, 3 doubles, 3 home runs, 20 hits, and 38 at-bats, 5 walks, 5 Ks, 2 hit-by pitches, 526 average, a 600 on-base percentage, and an 842 slug. Edgar Caro has been on fire in a 10-game hit streak. In the last 8 games, he's had 2 hits or more in the last 8 games.
Man.
Brian Ramos hit his first AAA homer on Saturday, and Noah Schultz started on Saturday. He has a .77 ERA in Double-A, 3 hits, 4 innings pitched on Saturday, and opponents have a 128 batting average in 3 games in Double-A versus Noah Schultz. He's at 39 innings pitched on the year, and we know that his cap's around 75 to around 90 from what the White Sox said earlier as he recovers from a shoulder impingement. So maybe about 50 more innings to, 35 more innings, 30 innings for Noah Schultz. So that's your Minor League Minute. Let's go to Guaranteed Rate Field to our CHGO White Sox beat writer, Vinnie Duber. He is going to be soon in Arkansas, so enjoy him while he lasts. We will be joined by Vinnie next week. So, Vinnie, let's go out with a bang. Why did Pedro Grfiol, or what did Pedro Grfiol have to say about Martin Maldonado staying in the game in the 6th and 8th inning for those important at-bats?
Yeah, so basically it was another defense of what Maldonado provides when he's not batting. I think everybody knows right now, including Martin Maldonado himself, who we talked to after the game as well, but knows that he's not hitting at all right now, and that's very literal, right? He's 0 for a large number of his last plate appearances, scores of them for that matter. So I don't think that anybody is fooling themselves or lying to themselves thinking, oh, he's going to come through with a big hit here. Obviously, Martin would like to, but that wasn't the idea. The idea, I think, there was the 6th inning was probably a little too early for Pedro Grfiol to pull that trigger and remove what he sees as a valuable presence behind the plate moving over through the rest of the game. Now, it ends up that they end up taking the lead later in the game there, and by the time that 8th inning at bat comes along, no longer tied. And so I think he would have preferred to have Maldonado back there to finish off the 9th inning as the catcher. So I don't think anybody watching is going to, have anything good to say about that because the focus is so much on what players do at the plate. Pedro even threw out there the thing that he does so well, that Maldonado does better than anything else that he does, is unquantifiable. There's no stat you can go look up to say it. So I'm not going to defend the move. I'm not going to dive in there, but what I will say is that what Pedro said was that he likes what Maldonado does so much behind the plate. Now, what was interesting, I think, is that it took a little bit of a bigger picture view than just this one game and talked about how he understands why it's a hot topic. He understands why he gets asked about it so much because of what the offensive numbers are, but he doesn't want to, he's kind of sick of having to explain himself. He values what Maldonado does so well. He goes, I don't want to harp on this. I'm not going to harp on this every time he catches, kind of thing. So he kind of even threw in a little, fiery, hyperbole saying, I don't want to be asked why I'm not pitch hitting for him in the 1st inning kind of thing. So, obviously he likes what Martin Maldonado brings, and that does not include offense right now at all. And so certainly on a day like this, it gets magnified because Martin did have 2 moments up there when the White Sox could have added on runs. But that's what Pedro had to say, and I'm sure neither of you will be pleased with that.
Yeah, we'll try not to shoot you. We understand you are the messenger. I guess the biggest thing that sticks out to me is just it's unquantifiable is bullshit. Again, I heard on the Boston Red Sox broadcast today that they were like, oh, Maldonado's getting back-to-back starts. The Boston Red Sox should be able to run as he's thrown out 1 of 27 runners this year. And it turns up to be 28 this year. You look at major league catchers. There's been 80 major league catchers who have played this year. He is 70 or 69th out of defensive runs saved. He's been a bad defensive catcher this year. I understand there's no home run stat, I guess. Maybe errors for catchers, but just saying that it's unquantifiable is crap. It is quantifiable. I could go to Fangraphs right now and look at the stats, and it says he's crap. It says he sucks, and he's 0 for his last 36 at bats.
I will specify that he was talking about working with the pitchers, and I get that aspect of it, right? That you can't have you can't go and look up on Fangraphs, how many times he calmed down somebody in a tough moment, or you can't go on Fangraphs and say how many minutes he spent, going over the game plan with everybody before the game. But at the end of the day, what you're talking about is not wrong. And what you guys are saying, that he has obviously been a negative presence in multiple facets, right? Whether you're talking about statistically defensive, right? When you're talking about DRS or whatever, the things that they put on the metrics that they use for that, or whether you're talking about certainly the offense, which everybody is willing to acknowledge, you're kind of chipping into a lot of different areas of the game there where you can point to him as having a poor season. And again, I don't think anybody's arguing with those kinds of things. You're just getting a point from the manager saying, listen, I'm not going to just stop playing this guy because he does do things that they like. And again, it might not be enough to balance out all the bad stuff in the minds of many, but he is pointing to certain things that are positives. Whether it's enough to stop people complaining, of course it's not. But I would just want to specify that so I'm not throwing someone unnecessarily under the bus.
No, for sure. And I guess I want to ask you guys this, and Herb, I'll start with you. The White Sox are 10-25 with Maldonado as their catcher, 17-49 this year. So their win percentage is 25% this year, just total with Maldonado catching and making the start. They're 28.5% win percentage. So they get a 3%. Is that where the wins show up?
I mean, I don't know. They confess it. Like Pedro says, he works the pitchers well. What he does doesn't show up in the stat sheet because there has to be something behind the scenes that we're not seeing that he does that is just that valuable, that Pedro gives him these at-bats late in the game and these starts. So I would say that there has to be some value. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to the actual tangible things that you could see with the numbers you just brought up, both 071 hitting and then being one of the worst defensive catchers in the game. So he has to do something else that shows up, and they're like, yes, what he does can't be duplicated. Corey Lee doesn't do it, so when Martin Maldonado does it, it gives us an edge as far as our pitchers. I'm sure that pitchers, they probably don't want to throw Corey Lee under the bus. He's a rookie catcher, but I'm sure pitchers probably prefer throwing to Martin Maldonado just because of his know-how, his research, his know of the league. I mean, last year, to give Martin Maldonado a little credit, when they asked Correa why the series changed between them and the Astros, they said Martin Maldonado. It's like Martin Maldonado knew what we were doing, and he changed up the game plan from what they were doing before with the Minnesota Twins, and then how they persevered through that game.
Yeah, that will bode well for the 2024 White Sox when they're in the playoffs. Vinny, I do want to ask, we talked about this with Corey Julks. What was Pedro's defense, if he gave any, or any thought process into pinch running Julks for Duke Ellis there in the seventh?
Yeah, basically what he said was just pointing to Ellis's elite speed. He said that if the bunt that Lopez put down didn't work, then they were still going to be confident that they could get him over because he can steal third base, with his speed. And I think the idea there is also too, Pedro did talk about Gavin Sheets going in. I believe there was a lefty on the mound. Sheets, gets the single down, obviously, but if Sheets struggles, in that spot with a lefty, Ellis still gives them a chance to score with how elite his speed is right there. That one to me in the moment didn't strike me as quite as, if you want to use the word egregious, you know what I mean? Obviously, because I think that in a tie game, Ellis gives you a better chance than anyone else on the roster to score there because of his speed. Now, is it that much of a big difference that you can argue that and split hairs? Corey Julks is fine running out there, but obviously Ellis can do some things that other people can't. I would say that one is probably almost certainly colored by what comes next, right? I mean, you put the pinch runner in and you get what you wanted. He scored the run. So the idea that they go into the ninth inning with a 4-3 lead and they can't hold the lead has something to do with all of this too. But certainly that one did not stand out to me in the moment watching the game as one that didn't make sense, like sending a guy up there in a tie game with runners in scoring position who can't get a hit right now.
My problem is it's the seventh inning. Corey Julks just hit a double. He's got 77th percentile speed, and you take him out for a guy who might have 99, but the difference of that is not enough for me, firstly, because you're bunting with the next guy, so anybody can get the third base there. And then secondly, that guy who's at second will have it at bat if the game is tight, either in the 8th inning like Duke Ellis had, or in the 9th inning. So Pedro's foresight on that was short. It was not good. It was like, I'm thinking about this inning and this inning only, instead of, hey, Corey Jokes just went 2 for 4 today, and he's got good speed, and if Nicky lays on the bunt, he could score just like Duke Ellis can. And also, when his spot comes back up, where he's not just sitting there looking at balls go past him and having a great game like that, Corey Jokes could actually put some power into it and get actual hits. So that's why I have a problem with Pedro's. He doesn't have foresight into the moves he's making. If Corey Jokes is the 8th or 9th hitter and he's not coming up again and he's not hitting well, far be it from me to complain about Pedro. But Corey Jokes has been the White Sox best hitter since he's got here, and he's got enough speed where he doesn't need to be replaced on the bases at all.
I think I don't necessarily disagree with the idea of keeping Jokes in the game. It didn't seem like someone who needed to come out, right? He's not that obvious, big bopper or something who gets to first base and he's not going to score easily because of his speed. He's a guy that has perfectly fine speed. I guess what I would say right there is you're just giving yourself the best chance to break that tie. And as the manager, or as you've got to have faith in your team that you can hold a 1-run lead. So basically what you're saying is, I can't make this move because what if we blow the 1-run lead that we're going to get? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think the idea is that you're making moves that you're expecting to work. And so, in that moment, he probably thought that was the game right there. It's a low scoring game. Even though they played well offensively the last few days, they only have 3 runs at that point in the game. So, that all came on one swing at that. So I think, that one, like I said, that one to me didn't stand out the same way that, hey, it's a tie game. We got a runner on third base. How are we going to get this guy in? And the guy that's you're sending to the plate is a guy who isn't capable of getting that runner in right now.
And I hear you, Vinny, and he should be thinking optimistic, but also he should be thinking realistic, where the bullpen he's got is bad, is actively bad, and you don't have one of the better bullpen arms that you have available today, and Michael Kopech wasn't going to pitch today. So going out there in the 9th inning, having Tanner Banks pitch that inning, you should know this. You already have this in your mind as Pedro Grfiol. I need more than 1 run to win this game. So bunting, firstly, cost you an out, and also it's costing you that player that's been hitting all game long in Corey Jokes. So that's why I have it. Like, he should have the forethought, like, okay, I don't need to take Corey out right here. He's got enough speed. And if it comes to the 9th inning or the 8th inning, he'll get another at bat instead of a guy in Duke Ellis who doesn't have a major league hit because, firstly, they don't like him to be up there. And when he did go up there for his, 4 at bats, he didn't do anything. So this is the thing, like, Pedro doesn't think about things how they should be and how they are going to be. That's what a manager does. He thinks about 2 innings before that or 2 innings after what his move is going to do, and then thinking, okay, this move I'm making in the 7th inning, will it affect me in the 9th inning, which it did. And it wasn't a second guess. It was right at the 7th inning. I first guessed that move because I knew it was going to come back to bite the White Sox because I know the bullpen is terrible. He's got to adjust to what he has, not to what he thinks he has.
And Vinny, you missed this. We are expecting, with your vacation time, you to write a written apology for laughing at Herb, saying that he was a better manager than Pedro Grfiol. Because again, I'm not trying to lie. Herb was saying all this. I heard him. I mean, Herb was calling how this game was going to play out. So again, just as much as you can. I think 4 paragraphs is light, but I know you're a writer. Let's move to Nick Nastrini and Drew Thorpe. Are these one and the same? Is Nastrini being replaced by Thorpe? Is this just a weird move because the White Sox were out of so many bullpen arms and we see Sammy Peralta come in the game that Nastrini's just going to come back when they return home or return for Arizona? What can you tell us about the Nastrini move, how Thorpe fits in, or if Thorpe doesn't fit in at all, how will Thorpe fit in on a Tuesday?
Yeah, so I don't think that this is just roster maneuvering. I got to be honest with you. I think this is, the way Pedro explained it before the game today was that they have some more things that Nastrini needs to work on. They said they sent him home with homework, so to speak. And I think we're maybe just seeing a handling of pitching prospects in a way that we might not be used to, right? I think in a lot of folks' minds, it's when a guy is ready at AAA, he comes up and he stays at the majors until things go horribly wrong, and then he has to go back down. And I don't think that's what we're seeing. I think we're seeing guys get up here, get some chances against major league hitting, get in the games, and get to show the White Sox what they have been working on. If you'll remember, Nick Nastrini comes up toward the beginning of the season. I think he made 2 starts and then went right back down. There was a lot of stuff they wanted him to work on. And I talked to him, in Milwaukee last weekend, and he said that he did that. He went down to AAA and he did work on those things. Now he comes back up here for 4 more starts. Sounds like they got some more stuff they want him to work on. And again, this might not make the most sense, or at least it might not seem like the easiest way to do it, right? But I think it's another example of something that this rebuilding season allows the White Sox to do, and a behavior that it allows them to do. Pedro has said earlier this season, I remember Pedro was the player development boss over in Seattle for a little bit, so he's got obviously experience doing this. And he said, I'm not all about once you come up, you can't go back down kind of thing. He was here saying, it's okay if you have to go back down and work on stuff and then come back and show it. And so the way he phrased it with Drew Thorpe earlier today was kind of similar, like, hey, let's see what he's got. Let's see where he's at kind of thing. We can see, how far along he is, or if he is ready to just stay here kind of. I mean, you see Jonathan Cannon come back and he's going to make a start next week in Seattle. Kind of the same thing, right? So I think that they're just rewarding guys who they think can be a big part of the future for them, and they want to kind of check in and see where they're at. And so Drew Thorpe might come up here and blow everybody away and stay and never go back down, or he might get that same treatment, and after 2, 3, 4 starts, it's okay, here's what we want you to go work on down in the minor leagues. Go ahead and do that. I asked Pedro, why is it better for Nastrini to go work on those things in Charlotte versus staying up here and working on them up here? And he just kind of talked about the environment, right? The environment of it being more controlled and being more coachable, and, being able to work on very specific things without having to win the game, so to speak, even though obviously that's what competitors are trying to do no matter what level they're at. But I think you're just kind of seeing a different approach to that continued development. And you're seeing guys, we've already seen it with Nastrini and Cannon, come up, go back down, come back up, go back down. And maybe that's what awaits Drew Thorpe, or maybe Drew Thorpe is ready to be a major league pitcher on a regular basis. So we'll see how it goes. But I would not, don't assume anything here. I think you can watch next week and watch along, and don't be surprised if he stays, or don't be surprised if he goes back down. I think you got to keep an open mind when watching these guys, and you saw it with Brian Ramos too, right? So it's not just with the pitchers, but it might just be a unique way that they're treating some of these young guys as they kind of begin this rebuilding process down here.
So next 5 will be Crochet, Flexen, or actually, sorry, in order: Fedde, Thorpe, Cannon, Crochet, Flexen. That's the next 5 starts for the White Sox. All right.
That would be my expectation, yes.
We'll see. Let's see how Jonathan Cannon and Drew Thorpe do. We will preview Thorpe's start on Monday and Tuesday's show as well.
This is what I'm asking to both of you guys. Like, we see Drew Thorpe being brought up from AA, just skipping AAA level altogether. Is there a thought of, instead of sending, I know Nastrini's already going to Charlotte, but instead of sending him to Charlotte, sending him to Birmingham to get work there at that facility? It seems like the pitchers there are thriving, and it could just be the pitchers are really good, but it seems like they're all thriving down in that atmosphere, and it's not, you don't have to worry about all the balls just going out on pop-ups like they do in Charlotte and the associated ballparks over there. Just like, I would think, like, if you're going down to the minor leagues, you probably want to have something of some confidence that you're doing the things that they want you to do, without the worry of, hey, my numbers look like this, even though I feel like I'm pitching well, because these ballparks are fucking my numbers up.
Yeah,
type of thing.
I guess he's walked a ton of guys in Charlotte when he's been there. 11 this year so far, and 10 last year. That's in about 50 innings pitched. So what, about 21 walks in 50 innings pitched for Nastrini in Charlotte. The walk per 9 is pretty much near 4 to like 3.8. So I think the biggest thing that he just needs to work on, I mean, if they're giving him homework, is probably trusting the other pitches besides his slider, working on fastball control and command, and then just not walking the yard. Because I think if he's giving up pop flies and easy homers in Charlotte, they could probably just go back, watch the videotape, and be like, oh, well, any other ballpark, this doesn't go out, and just write it off. But if he's walking 8 guys in a start, that's probably where the concern comes.
Yeah, that would concern anyone about any pitcher, I would imagine. So yeah, that's a very good point. To Herb's question, I think being sent down that far is not really how that works. And I think, if you're talking about confidence, that's probably a blow to the confidence too, right? Is like, hey, why am I going down 2 levels when I can only go down 1 kind of thing? You even see them treat Brian Ramos, they bring him up from AA, then they send him down, but they send him down to AAA, and they kind of even talk about it as a quasi promotion kind of thing, given the reason he was here in the first place wasn't necessarily to be the guy. So I think the way that the minor league is staffed, any of the instruction that you would be getting at Birmingham can certainly be given at AAA with the way they've got pitching coordinators and that kind of thing, in addition to a guy like Brian Bannister, right, who works with all the levels. So I think that the homework that they've got for Nick Nastrini is probably less about, statistics, and probably more about, working on very specific things that will make him successful at the major league level, more so than successful at the AAA level, if that makes sense.
Yep. All right. I don't think there's anything else we have for you, Vinny. Anything else from the park that we might have missed over Saturday or Friday?
No, don't think so. I mean, I think this was a good weekend for the White Sox. I mean, certainly everything is relative, but the way that they had that losing streak get extended on Thursday night to be able to snap it on Friday, win on Saturday, even though the game didn't go the way they wanted it to today, I think they saw the last 3 days as a different kind of vibe and certainly some different performance from the offense. And I think they felt like this weekend was a positive one for them, even though it ends up being a series split. A 4-game series split is something that's pretty good when you're coming off of a 14-game losing streak.
Appreciate it, Vinny. You can follow Vinnie Duber at Vinnie Duber. He's going to be enjoying a vacation in Arkansas over the next week, so you won't be seeing too many tweets from him, hopefully. Not too many tweets from him. He'll be tweeting something funny he sees probably along the way. So follow him at Vinnie Duber. That's Herb Lawrence, our CHGO White Sox beat writer. You can follow him at Ecknerwall23, and you can follow me at Sean_W_Anderson. Thank you to Sarah for producing the show. You can read our work up at allchgo.com, and you can go check out our latest event on the 24th as the White Sox take on the Dodgers. We'll be doing a takeover at Guaranteed Rate Field over at allchgo.com/events. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out. We will talk to you tomorrow at 3 p.m. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.